once worked for a big bank, and we had a huge research house reporting that we were, all banks generally tend to be pretty much the same. They're quite close. Their little lines match at the top, and our little line was a notch above everybody else's. I then went to work for an agency who had a client, which was the competitor, and their research showed exactly the same lines, but their client was a slight notch above. And they were both, you can name the research houses. They were both hugely respectable global research houses. And it's a repeated thing. It's, we want to show a good story. I mean, there was a whole thing with the ratings of banks and everywhere, showing that they had fantastic credit ratings. If I was researching and I was talking to a really major advertiser, and I put this entire research project together, it wouldn't go very well if I started by saying you're really in a bad place, and you don't apparently have any signs of hope, and there is nothing that anybody could help you for other than change management. It's not going to go very well. So you kind of take them on a journey. You say, well, this is what you're really good at, and look, comparatively, they're not good at that. This is what you can improve on, which they're not too far behind you. But I think the thing that we need to all get to, and you can't afford to do this always, is single source data. So there's that part, and there's also there's a couple of less helpful things today. Metrics like awareness and consideration and trial. So trial is my perception of, did I try it, or my intent of, am I going to try it soon, so I'll tell you I did try it. Consideration and awareness is sometimes more an indication of what people actually bought recently, rather than whether or not they're aware. So we just need to get a lot better with that. And again, I'll reference Aaron Bass and this fantastic work on research metrics that are more useful. They're not going to say that you won. They're not going to say you're better than anybody else, and that's the problem. But they're going to say, within your world, because that's the only world that counts, these are the things that are working and those are the things that aren't. One of the other agencies we deal with does it in a slightly different way, which is just easier for them to research, which is, are you in the top 3 brands of consideration at the point of purchase? They ask it in a nice way. And if you're out of the top 3 brands, they've calculated that people only have 3 brands in their mind at the time. Whether or not that's true, it's just a nice way to think of it, that, listen, you're sitting at number 7 or number 8. Whether or not it is 3 or 4, you're not in the game. But ours is quite simple, and I really like it as an example. So you do all this work before you sort of go into market, which means walk down to the pub. And the moment where you're in market is when you're standing at the bar and you're about to point at something. So for us, that precise question of what is the mental availability at that particular point is so much more interesting than, are you aware of the biggest brand name of Australian beer? Yes, you are. Everybody is.